Hello, everybody, and welcome back to G-Bear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert. And I did a little work on my intro. I hope it works today, because yesterday I went without it because it wasn't cooperating at all. It was overlapping everything I tried. So I just started back at the beginning and tried something new, and let's see if it works this time. All right, so I'm out here in the Garden of Eden. And still got all my scion clippings here. Well, they're not scions, right? They're actually pruned branches from different fruit trees. And over here, that little group down there is persimmon. And persimmon doesn't really have anything that it's compatible with grafting. So it's basically on its own. There is a lotus rootstock that actually works with it, but no other fruit. So you can't cross graft it with another fruit tree to get two fruits on one tree. So I'm going to be trying to root those to get new trees out of them. And one of the secrets that I learned a long time ago about rooting is to use aloe vera gel. Just take a frond off an aloe vera, and then on the bottom of the branch that you want to use, cut it off square with your pruners. Don't have it cut on a 45 angle. You want it cut off square. And then on three sides, go up about 1.5 to 2 inches up, and use a sharp knife. A good grafting knife works, or a box cutter or anything like that, something really sharp. And don't press too hard. You just want to get through the bark and make a cut down the last 1.5 to 2 inches of the branch in 3 spots around the perimeter of the branch. Then dip that into the back end of the frond of aloe vera you clipped off, to coat it with aloe vera juice, and then stick it in a unit with soil. And you want it to be pretty deep, so don't use little trays like this. This is okay for starting vegetable plants, but for starting a tree, you want to use at least a 1-gallon bucket. And I don't have one handy with me. I see some way down there in the sitting inside of that other white bucket. But a 1-gallon bucket is a good size for starting your tree. And then you can up pot it from there as it starts to grow. But in case it doesn't take, starting with a 1-gallon pot saves you a lot of extra soil and carrying a big pot around while you're trying to get it to the best location. Now, when you're rooting like that, you don't want to root in direct sunlight. You want to have some shade when you're doing that. So I'll probably be moving them to a place where there's a little bit more shade than right in here. All right, so I just gave everything a good watering. I'm going to be doing some of these pears and apples onto this quince tree. My other quince tree that's in the greenhouse, that pear tree, and this pear tree. So I will take a lot of this stuff and move it around. Now, these apricots, or apricots if you want, that's an apricot tree right there. So I'll be taking some of those and grafting it onto there to cross graft it. And another thing that helps is if you're using something like some plums won't produce fruit unless they have a mate tree of another variety of plum nearby. So by cross grafting it with that same variety that it needs, you actually make the tree produce on its own, because it'll start growing its beneficial fruit on one side of it and the fruit that you want on the other side of it. So they'll actually germinate each other. So there's an advantage to stuff like this. Now also, I've got this tree with right now with quince, two types of apple, and Bartlett pear, all growing on one tree. It only takes one space. I get 3 different fruit on it, and the watering only requires me to water one tree. So saves on water, saves on space. Can't beat it. Grafting is really great. Now I'll be doing some grafting here soon because you can see that the buds are starting to pop on these. I'm seeing buds popping everywhere. That means that they've started flowing. Now remember, I'm in February here, in the middle of February, and spring doesn't even start until March 20th. And that's over a month away. You know what I mean? Jelly bean. So yeah, that's still quite a ways away, but I've got stuff growing here. I've got my onions growing there. I've got my garlic growing here. I've got asparagus growing over there. And then over here, I've got radishes in the back, and then I've got spinach in the front. Now there's some seeds that didn't take. These were old seeds. Now some seeds that didn't take. So the spaces that you see in between it, I just replanted fresh seed in there. And I've got this cover that goes down over it. Now I'm going to be putting a block right in the center to hold the plastic up in the center. And that'll give it a little bit more growth space underneath. Be more like a little miniature greenhouse. And I'll be doing the same thing with the other two. We'll go down there in a minute. So anyway, I've got also some cilantro right here that is starting to pick up. And there's some grass in there that I can pluck out. I don't need those. But yeah, the cilantro is because I had buckets, like those buckets, or these buckets over here, growing different things in each one. And one of them had a bunch of cilantro in it from last year. That cilantro grew up really big and strong, and then it went to seed because of the heat wave we had. It bolted, as they say, and I just let the seeds fall wherever they may. So some of them took. So I got some cilantro going there. I got some cilantro going there. I got some cilantro growing there. It just volunteers, but that's fine. I'll use it. I love my cilantro. And there's no such thing as cilantro. It's only cilantro. So potatoes. You can see I got potatoes sprouting there. I got a couple here. I got some more cilantro growing right there. I got some more potatoes sprouting right there in the middle. Some potatoes here, and I got some cilantro over there. So this one's doing really well. And again, I'm going to put something in the center to lift up on the plastic. So if we get another light rain or heavy rain, the water doesn't sit in the center of the plastic and press down on the plants that are under here. So I'll make little holes all the way around the outer edge. So as the water runs off of the high point in the center, it drips down into the edges of the garden, and it can't go out through the board, so it'll spread into the garden. Okay, so what do we got going here? Look at that. More cilantro, it looks like. Cool. Cool. That's total cool. All right, so over here, remember, these potatoes were planted as potato peels. And I've got potatoes coming up from it, so cool. And this one here, I'll put something in the center to lift up on the plastic a little bit, so it gives the potatoes somewhere to grow. This pear tree, which I got from Aurora and her husband, This one never produced, as I said, but I've grafted onto it. You can see all the grafts here, and they've all taken. But you see these little suckers right here? I got to pluck all of those off, because all they do is eat up energy from the tree, sending it up higher to the the grafts that I have on here. And you see these grafts are healthy. They're nice and green, and they've got buds starting to show on them. This bud's for you. So yeah, there's another graft right there. Now, this one was whip and tongue, and this was a T-bark graft on both sides here. And I will go over those at another time on another grafting. Okay, and this is also a bark graft, a T-bark graft right there. And this was a T-bark graft right in the center of the branch. These two broke off in the high winds, but I'm going to be cutting this off right there, and I'll graft in a couple of those Honeycrisp apples into that and see if I can get them growing this year too. That's my plan. All right, so as we move on down the line, my poor rosemary plant is not looking very healthy. I'm going to have to do a soil sample on there, and I think it probably just needs more acidity. And I've got a bunch of coffee grounds that I've been saving. I'll just put a bunch of coffee grounds around there, and that should bring the acidity up in the soil. Got another cilantro growing right down there. Cool. Totally cool. Look at all of the aloe vera I've got. Wow. Amazing. All right, now this is a plum tree. And on the plum trees, I can graft any fruit that is a stone fruit. Stone fruit meaning it has a pit, a big heavy pit inside, like apricot, peach, what's some of the others? Anything with a pit, I can graft onto this. So I'll probably be doing that on this one. It's a little young yet, but all these little suckers that are down here, I'll clip those off, and I could do a T-bark graft in here with one of the burgundy plum scions over there. And then maybe I'll clip off the top of like this one right here. I'll clip it off there, and I'll do a whip and tongue graft right into the main branch with another branch approximately the same size. Or I might even use that grafting tool I showed you in the What Is It Wednesday and do a omega cut on there, because those are really good. Omega cuts really do a good job of taking. All my citrus trees took a little bit of a hit in the deep freezing that we had, but they're still doing fine. They'll come back. I also have a peach tree in there, the second one in. The first one is fig. So I'm growing some BVD. So anyway, grapevines are all pruned and all ready to go, and they're looking like they've got some life starting to come to them. And I've got a couple of grafts on here. Got one right here, and I got another one right on the other side of the main trunk here, which was a T-bark graft. And for grapevines, what I usually do is I have a drill that I've sharpened into a tapered point about an inch in, and I like to drill a tapered hole into the branch, and then just use a pencil sharpener on a pencil size scion like this to sharpen the end of it, the grow end of it, and then force that into the hole and wrap it. And those usually take really quick. But I just tried doing a T-bark on this one, and then this one over here is also a T-bark. So that's about it. And that's all I got to say. And questions and comments, of course, down below. And for yesterday's solar, Any comments and questions? Leave them in the section. I'll be glad to get back to you. This is G Bear signing off. So a cop pulls me over, walks up to the window, and he says, "You know why I pulled you over?" I said, "Shh, wait a minute," and I'm on the phone.